Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You're at the spot, the place, where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You are back at your favorite spot. Yes, right here. The place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses, they're never dull. We're going to Australia, okay? We are going to visit with Vivianne Dawalibi. She is a former UN humanitarian leader and global authority on confidence for women from diverse backgrounds. She has one harrowing story, Brains, how she grew up, how she's traveled the world, but also how she has given her life as a humanitarian to help others in the struggle, because we know the struggle is real, not just here in United States and the tragedy that just occurred there in Australia, but around the world and globally. We want to see what we can do, how we can support, and how we can be better human beings. So let's bring her on. How are you, Vivianne?
I'm very good, and I'm very honored to really be with you today and to share my message.
I am
Thank you,
so
everyone.
glad. I've been watching your videos, and you are one amazing lady. You have traveled the world and been so selfless and supporting others with your time, with your money, with your energy, and even your safety. Tell my brains a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Thank you. I will start from where I came, and I will take you through what I went through and where it took me to. So I really came from a Syrian Christian refugee family born in a small town in the north part of Sudan. And I learned that silence is the way to survive. And I really was silent for many years. Inside our house, there was love and connection, but outside the door, there was cultural expectations and demands, especially on a girl like me. So I really had a trauma. I was deprived my education. I was really had no degree and no fluent English and no work experience. But I stepped into the United Nations Refugee Agency called UNHCR. That's where I found myself. And quickly I learned service was my healing. And I started to understand the human needs that awakened in me the clarity on my mission that gave me the courage to understand the needs of the refugees and the courage to stand beside them. And that helped me to have the confidence and the leadership. And then I went through losses. And I had to rebuild myself again. Every challenge I went through, it took me to the other side more stronger, with more clarity, more courage.
You've seen so many women that have been deprived, overlooked, and underserved. And coming from a place of silence and a cultural discipline that required you to be, for the lack of a better term, subservient to men. How did you find yourself in a male-dominated world? Because, you know, when you're dealing with the UN, you're dealing with, I call it politics, but you're dealing with politics, you're dealing with influential leaders, you're dealing with egos. How did you find yourself in that spot? I mean, it's a learning experience.
I really focused my attention and my energy on serving. And I had to really work. Yes, it was a male dominant, absolutely correct. But my service really spoke louder than the ego of the male domination. I really had to focus on what met best for the refugees and how can I integrate them smoothly in new societies. So my service really spoke louder than anything. I understood leadership really is not about ego or about image or about, it's all about willingness to serve. And that made me really excel in what I have done.
But you were like a chameleon. You not just served people of your culture, but you went to very different countries with very different philosophies, languages, food, medical attention, housing. How were you able to? I mean, I know service, and I know that your spiritual leader, whatever your God is, was with you the entire time. But how are you able to migrate and do that? I mean, some people can't go to the next state and feel comfortable. You've been to how many different countries?
8. I served in 8 war-torn countries.
Wow.
8 war-torn countries. I started from my home country, Sudan, where I served 13 years. And in those 13 years, I really learned what helped me is mainly my willingness to learn and to serve. That equipped me to really go on missions. Again, my headquarters in Geneva, they were testing my ability. I was sent to different emergency operations, and every operation was different. The political system was different. The needs were different. The team and even the internal politics of the practice or the office were different. So I had to learn to adapt quickly. And that was my first lesson when I moved from that small town in the north part of Sudan to the capital. When I got married and I came to the capital, Khartoum, that geographical transformation was my first adaptation. And I learned quickly that I have to learn to adapt and make the best out of that. So how to find the needs about refugees is going to the field. I was an operation manager, or according to the terminology of UNHCR, I was a program officer. So I used to go on the field and visit the refugees, meet them, know about their needs, meet with government, local governments, have done so many in the area of shelter. Policy reforms, that was a big shift for me when I really found I was requested to really provide food to the refugees, and the food was mainly a donation from our sister agency WFP, that the food was coming from Turkey to Armenia when the international blockade was not allowing the trucks to drive all the way to Armenia. I had to rescue my life, to risk my life, and to go to another country, Georgia, to really get all the food from the 10 trucks and offload it and ship it to Armenia. And when I came back happy, mission accomplished, it didn't serve the purpose. The food was not the right fit for them. So I had to go to Geneva to reform the policy, and I changed the program from emergency to integration. And that was the time we have done so many programs that really helped integration and helped the refugees to stand on their feet and not to rely on outside service like the UN support. We went into animal husbandry projects, we went into agriculture programs, and we went into small income generation programs, even when it was not the mandate of UNHCR. I really broke the rules, and I had to find this solution to help the refugees to stand on their feet with self-reliance and not waiting for any international aid to come and give them a 20 kilo of a box that will not fit their purpose.
Right. And I'll tell you a similar situation that I was in. It wasn't that intense, but it was intense. We had a big hurricane, Hurricane Katrina in Louisiana, and I worked for the American Red Cross. And what someone did was they wanted to do something amazing, humanitarian, so they chartered a plane. They put all of these individuals from Louisiana, who still Americans, but there was such a deep cultural divide. All of these people that came mostly were African American, were Black. They brought them into the facility. We checked them out, but they did not. The people of the American Red Cross did not understand the culture of the people of Louisiana. They did not understand why they did not want to eat tacos. They don't eat tacos. They eat etouffee. They eat shrimp. They eat lobster. They eat rice. It was different for them. The way that they speak with a very thick tongue. There was a color divide. Absolutely. Some of the people in New Orleans were told, go around to the back. The white people, we'll take care of you back there. And they closed the front door. This was a disaster of monumental proportion. They were evacuating people by helicopter. One woman said to me, she says, baby, I don't feel good. I haven't had my medication, my little blue pill. I said, mother, what little blue pill? She said, I don't know and I don't remember. Who was going to get her heart medicine? I put her in my car. I took her down to the pharmacy where I knew the pharmacist. And I said, could you lay out the blue pills for the heart? And we found what she needed. I can only imagine what you went through in the trenches of that. There's disease that you're subjected to. There's no medical treatment. The food is, if it's given to them properly, it could be spoiled or tainted or what they don't eat. Mothers need certain type of hygiene. They need certain type of things to even nurse their baby to give them that. Men are trying to go and try to rebuild the community, and there you are in the crust of all of that.
Correct.
I bet you cried a lot too. Did you cry a lot?
It was a lot. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was. Every place I really served was heartbreaking. Really, when it came to my attention, for example, I served in communist country where mental health is a taboo. And it came to my attention there is an institution where people are kept there being labeled as crazy. And our helpers were denied access. And I went to my neighbor, she was a social service minister, and I went to her and I said, Heranush, I need help. I need access to go to that institution. She's my friend, my neighbor. She looked at me and she said, why, Vivianne, you want to do that? They are crazy. It broke my heart. And I said, no, they are human.
Right.
She pushed me to go to the education minister. Why? I went to the education minister. He pushed me to the health minister. And when I entered the office of the health minister, as soon as I opened my mouth and I said to him, I need access to that institution, he banged on his desk and he said to me, if you say that again, in 24 hours, you have to leave Armenia. I was shocked. I didn't understand why. And I didn't take the no as an answer. I really found the way, and I went to my counterpart in the government and I asked him. He's an elderly communist person. And I said to him, I'm not leaving your office unless you give me that access, because I can't understand and I can't sleep knowing there are people needing our help and we are saying no because of whatever.
Well,
he tried to convince me.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sorry to cut you off, but in a lot of countries, it's about acculturation instead of assimilation. And what happens is even with disabilities, this was a mental health, but if they are maimed, if they have a short leg, if they are crippled, if they have polio, whatever, they are just shunned and put in a little case. Okay, we don't want to be bothered with them. Hopefully they will disintegrate.
Definitely, that was the intention. And then I managed to really have the access, and we turned that place to the Hope House.
Mm.
And not many of them were really mentally. But the condition they were in caused them to really emotionally be disturbed. But we really done a lot of work in that institution. And we created work for them. We gave them, we funded a lot of materials to help them be occupied with something that we created hope. We created dignity for them. And then we created an international fair to really sell whatever being produced by those people so that we can get funds to make this institution a sustainable place and not to rely on one potato as a meal for a day.
Right, right. You know, and another thing that what people are, they're so desensitized now because here in the United States, you know, it's on the news every day how we are really attacking people at our borders. And Vivianne, I'm going to be real honest with you, okay? When is enough enough? There's only so much resources, there is so much responsibility that any country can take on. You know, you see what's going on in Palestine. You see what's going on in, again, Sudan, different countries. And then the bordering countries say, okay, we will help and support you. But our people have worked, they're working, these are their resources, there's their schools, there's limited health care, there's limited money and resources. Where do we draw the line? I really hope that we can, again, do like you do, go into these countries and help them become sustainable. But in the meantime, in between time, what are we going to do? Because we're draining all of our resources and it's not fair to the people of our country either.
Correct. I think it's a responsibility. It's a social responsibility. And it is mainly if we help people, if we change our perception from helping hand to sustainability. And that is what made me really difference and being recognized. I did not really agree, even now coming to Australia, and I really started to join some of the charity organization. And when they speak about we are sending this as a handout, that ring the bell for me. I said, it's not for me. That is helping a short term. That is not sustainable.
Right,
But when we help people to really give them something that they can stand on their feet, they will not really think of leaving their own home country and go through
right.
what they go through to come to another country.
Yeah,
So sustainability is a big issue. It really comes with the responsibility, the authority of taking the social leadership and doing what needed to be done, and not only from a sense of authentic leadership and not from a presence or an image or an ego.
right.
That we
When
won't be in situation.
when you're in these situations, what I find is pretty harrowing as well, is everything has been destroyed. Okay, you're, again, if you weren't mentally challenged, you will be. The children can't go to school. They've lost their parents, bombed. You know, I mean, I look at what I see and I know that the media sensationalizes things, but I could only imagine going down the street here in the United States or in Australia, seeing a bombed out community where there was once stores and livelihood and activity. So you talk about sustainability, that takes a long time because you have to rebuild the infrastructure.
Correct.
So putting teams in place through the UN, through other organizations like the ones that you have, are critical to have people to be sustainable, to renew themselves.
Absolutely.
Because they don't, you know, if people think they want to come here, people don't want to go to another country that they know that people are not going to be as welcoming. They don't know anybody. They don't speak the language. They can't drive the cars. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a lot. And those are just little things. We're
Yeah.
talking about people that have maybe been on dialysis or have diabetes, and you don't know what that's going to be.
Yeah.
And now they consider them a burden on society. I don't know how. we continue to not fight that battle. It seems very it seems very simple, and I mean what you're saying is very idealistic in some and realistic in other situations. But again, you've got to be able to put that infrastructure in place. You have received numerous awards globally for the work that you've done. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's mainly about the peace that I really brought into place. It's mainly the change. It's again, for example, when I received the UNESCO Peace Prize Certificate, it was mainly because I really took an initiative to survey 54 orphanages in Armenia. When I went to visit these orphanages, some of them heartbreaking. In a country after the collapse of the former Soviet system had no power, and these babies were just wrapped in white material, one after the other, in a big auditorium, freezing to death. And when I asked how these all children are orphans, and the manager whispered, they are not all or orphans. Okay, why they are here? Because their mothers cannot afford. They are putting them here to get some support from the international aid agencies. It shook me. I went to the second orphanage, the third orphanage. I got exactly the same. I called my team and we had a meeting to survey all the orphanages in Armenia. And the results showed it was not. I gave the report to the president of Armenia to show him the results. And accordingly, a decree was issued to change the enrollment of these babies or these children. And we as a community, as a social responsibility, I went to the church and I really worked to find out the mothers of these babies. I went to the church to really preach the parents, the family, please look after your children, regardless of the toughness it is, how it is, still you have a parental responsibility. And then we really started to create jobs for the moms, because majority were left moms, my Lord, give me goosebumps, were mothers. Their husbands died in the war or left to Russia for economic reason. And they are left with this big responsibility with nothing. So we had to really look into building the infrastructure of creating job opportunities for them. That took me to really go to the local authorities and to have partnership. And I pulled resources from other UN agencies so that we can do a reform on how we can help these people stand on their feet.
I hear when you speak on certain points, you're back in that spot. You're back in that place. You're back in that mindset because the passion roars up, and I can empathize with you. Absolutely, I can. Human trafficking. It is of monumental support. And what people don't fail to realize is it's not just sex. They're transporting drugs, but they're also taking body parts. Slave labor. And that is bigger as far as revenue and a commodity than guns and drugs.
Correct. I had really an experience in some women in a hostel of 300 women living in that hostel. They were selling their body to Iranian truck drivers just because they cannot look after their family. And when I heard that, again, it was heartbreaking. This was beyond our resources as UNHCR. And then I really pulled resources from the church. And we have done a lot in that area to really break the cycle of this and restore the dignity of these women, to understand they are not alone. We are here. We hear their pain, and we feel it, and we stand by their side. And that promise helped them to regain some trust and hope. And we managed to really transform that hostel. And we created different education program for the kids. We bought computers. We hired from the community, from the same community, teachers, singers. We have done so many just to create a life and restore dignity and help them to really integrate. And whatever I was doing, I always bring the local authority to see what we are doing so that they can really share the message with other implementing partners so that and when you speak about building infrastructure, absolutely correct. And I can say, when we work collectively, the impact becomes bigger. Mm-hmm. And that helps a quick transformation. And I witnessed that. And that was the joy that I really get when I see the results of transformation. That became the motive for me to do more. And we really got more. When I joined UNHCR in Armenia, for example, my budget was 230,000 American dollars. And when I left Armenia, my budget, that's only UNHCR, was more than 10 million American dollars. Yeah.
And let me ask you another question that people are very skeptical. Okay. I'll refer back to the nonprofit organizations here in the United States. Corruption. You will go into these countries. Their intention is not to rescue the people, but to pilfer the money and the resources that are coming in. It's very hard to be here and support you there. What do you recommend that we do or can do to identify, recognize, and assure to the best of our ability, because we never know, but the best of our ability that the resources and the fundings that we're contributing to are actually getting to the people that need it?
Very good question, really. I believe people make the difference. My experience when I was working, we used to get international aid, NGOs, and they come with their own agenda. And for example, they want to really bring a type of potato without understanding the soil in Armenia, the weather in Armenia, whether that will work or not. But for them is to record that they have given this type of potatoes to UNHCR to help the refugees. I listen, I educate myself, but I take the project to the local authority, specialize in that department so that they can advise me what direction I should go. And we end up bringing potatoes, for example, from Russia, similar climate, similar conditions. And that is where we fed and create sustainability to the local communities. So people come from different backgrounds or different agencies hoping to make opportunities. Another example, for example, Armenia is known for fruits, but they never learned how to dry their fruits and store it. Mm. So one project came to me from an American organization called ACRA. It is specialized in agriculture. They came with the concept of really establishing and building for us dryers, sun dryers, solar dryers. Again, I listened, I understood, I took the project and I took it back to the local authority. They put me with local engineers and we built several local solar dryers in different regions where are specialized with the production of fruits and vegetables so that they can really become more sustainable. But if I spend the money, and big money I'm talking about, to a project which will not sustain, it's a waste of resources.
Right. Now,
I take every opportunity and I discuss it and build partnership with the local authorities who know more than myself or any NGO who comes as a guest to short trip trying to do something.
now you know what really blows my mind about you is that you came in this with no education, with not being able to even speak up for yourself, to be not shunned, but to be alienated and isolated. And you turned these countries, not one, not two, but 8, on their head. And you worked with high profile individuals with as many degrees as a thermometer, and money and resources and political influence. And here comes little old you. Won't God do it? Yes, he will. Yes, he will. He will.
Absolutely.
So since then, you came back to the mainland or our part of the world, and you started a clinic. Tell us a little bit about the medical clinics that you owned.
Yeah, after serving UNHCR for 20 years, we became refugees in Australia. And my husband, God rest his soul, he was also a UN volunteer, but he came back from Kosovo. The last operation I served, or we served, was in Kosovo during the Kosovo conflict in 1999. And he came back with a heart condition that we didn't know that he was struggling with. However, I lost him after 3 years. And that created in me a different interest and mission to really. I left Sydney and I moved to a new state in Queensland and I invested in the medical practice. And I was on fire at that time. It's just to help people have access to health care so that they can look after their health. And when I started, I was never a medical person. I had no medical background, no medical terminologies, and no business background. And I stepped into wearing this hat of becoming a businesswoman and responsible for managing and leading doctors, allied health nurses, admin staff, and a business for 20 years.
Wow.
And have been really, yeah. So it's the drive inside me that made me do what I have done with the community, is mainly to give them access to quality of healthcare. And also I came to know about the Aboriginal background and the history of the Aboriginal, and I took it to heart. And we became the medical practice that served the highest number of Aboriginal and Strait Torres Islanders in Queensland.
I
And
know you did.
we have been even gifted 3 flags to display in our practice.
Wow.
The Aboriginal flag, the Strait Torres Islander flag, and the national flag. And yeah, so it's all about the mission. It's all about the authentic leadership.
Right.
It's not, I learned that authentic leadership does not come from credentials. It comes from authentic willingness to serve and to make a difference in the lives of the people that we entrusted to serve.
Well, you didn't put on a hat, you put on a crown because you are a queen. You are a queen. And to gain the trust of people, they've already been subjectified, they've already been mistreated, they've been lied to, they've been ignored. But to allow you, this cute little petite thing, to come in and say, I want to help you, they're going to say, you're just like all the others. But there was a halo around you. There was something that said, okay, this is different. It's different this time. She's really sincere. And so I give you your flowers. I'm sorry I don't have a flag or a certificate or a trophy, but I give you love and admiration. You put all of this information in a book. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Yeah, this is my book, and it is the subconscious shift from self-protection to self-love. And it's a guide that took me to help me transform and it is on Amazon if anyone is interested. It is really my journey. It's a guide, it's a companion, it is a lot of modalities, and because I became a certified NLP practitioner, a certified in hypnotherapy and timeline therapy, and I learned EFT, emotional freedom technique. There are all modalities that help me really heal the deep wounds and the cultural deprivations and transform me in my journey. So that's why I wanted to share it with people who are keen. They know they are capable, but they don't know how.
Right.
They learn how to be silent because that is for them to survive the same how I was.
Well, we say that every day that the struggle is real. The struggle is real,
Absolutely.
and it is not going away. There
Yep.
has been this type of destruction and deceivery and pain and suffering
Yeah.
since people have landed on this planet.
Correct.
Um, but what we
There
have to
are
do is we have to learn compassion.
absolutely. There are millions. My heart goes to women from ethnic and diversity backgrounds because who really learn to keep quiet and be silent and play it small, the way how I was. It's not because of anything, it's just because we learn to be quiet, to be silenced, to survive. And that is my mission now as a public speaker and a transformational coach to help those women. Because I believe when women are supported and transformed, families change, workplace change, and communities change.
The world changes, and now this is the time of the woman. This is the age of Aquarius.
Yep,
Mother Earth is reemerging, and
yep,
women have to take their seat back again on the throne.
absolutely.
And what we need to do is not emasculate a man, but hold his hand and guide him and show him the way, because I think that that leadership or that leadership role has run its course. And you think back through history, how many women ran countries, uh,
Yep,
you know, still to this day. And here in the United States, we can't get a woman president.
yeah,
So it's different. And it's what we're taught. But we need to be a little bit more gracious and grateful for what we have. You
correct.
are your brother and sister's keeper. We do have a responsibility because God is looking at us. He's looking at us and he's saying, how do you treat one another? How do you treat the earth? How do you treat the animals? I gave you all of this as a gift, and look what you
Yep,
do with it. And
correct.
so there's going to be repercussions for ugliness, but there is also an opportunity to breathe love, light, and beauty and hope into other people's lives. And sustainability is definitely the way. I want
Yes,
to ask you some fun questions before we conclude, okay?
yes,
If you were a flavor of ice cream, what flavor would you be?
chocolate.
Chocolate. Why?
I love chocolate.
You love
I feel
chocolate?
good when I have chocolate.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Do you have children?
I have one son. Yes, he's married and he's blessed with twin boys. He lives in Queensland, where he used to work with me in the medical practice, and then he started to really have his own journey as a handyman. And that's what he loves to really make a difference in the homes or in the offices or in the factories to create convenience to other people.
As a grandmother, what are you pouring into those boys or his children?
Um, I try my best. Sometimes there are situations beyond our control.
Right?
Yeah.
But about being a good human being, and and are they interested in travel? Are they interested at all? Because I'm looking at the next generation.
Generation. Yeah, this is my goal because I really love to help the next generation. Because when I was in California and I was invited to be a speaker at Santa Clara University, and I was privileged to be speaking to students at the university, and I found these students have no direction. They don't know. They come to university for different reasons, but they don't know exactly what's their passion and what's their direction. So I gave them my session and to show them the importance of having clarity, courage, and inner peace to really shape your direction.
If you were a flower in the garden, what flower would you be?
Rose.
Ah, why do you like roses?
I love roses. It represents the love.
Oh, it
Yeah.
does. It does. It does. If you
Yeah.
were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
I will be the stove.
Okay. Why?
Because it produces, it
Ah,
makes results.
that's wonderful. That's good. If you could time travel, if you could go back to the past, stay here in the present, move to the future, where would you land?
The future.
The future?
Yeah. I learned from my past, and I'm grateful for what I have at present, and the future is still a big road in front of me to cross.
Um, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want us to always remember you?
Kindness and service and touching hearts, transforming lives.
Simple, beautiful, and easy. And where do you see your next big adventure? What is something that you want to touch? Country that you want to touch? People you want to touch? I know that you're doing great work in transformational speaking, but again, that's a tall undertaking with 8 billion people on the planet. How do you want to continue your impact?
My impact is a bit different or unique because I'm speaking out of transformed life. I'm not speaking out of theory or I'm speaking of deep work, deep transformation, and creating clarity, courage, and inner peace. That is my point of difference. And where I see myself in the future, I really see myself working with the United Nations, especially at these times when there is a big demand, corporates who really have a team so that we can really work with the team and the leadership as well. NGOs who are trying their best to make a difference. I think 2026 will be a very active year for me with big goals to achieve.
Well,
Yeah.
we are with you 110%. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts because you know, we can't say enough for people like you. If there wasn't, and it takes one person to make a difference, everyone can make a difference with your dollars, with your time, with your information, with your resources, just being kind to your neighbor next door. I've got a neighbor next door that is a piece of work. But if she needs something, she knows that she can pick up the phone and I'm going to be there to serve. And thank you so much for your service. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you as well as how to get a copy of the book and follow you and your progress.
Yeah, if my story really resonates, I just invite anyone to really sit and reflect. and to find out where they have been silenced when they did not need to be. And if they need support, they can reach me at through my futurepoweracademy.com or through my LinkedIn, Vivianne Dawalibi, or Future Power Academy, or through my Facebook page, Vivianne Dawalibi or Future Power Academy.
And that's futurepoweracademy.com. There's no AU at the end of that, just .com?
No AU, no AU.
All right, we're going to put all of that contact information at the back part of the interview. Vivianne, again, thank you so much for being here with us on The Edge. I look forward to meeting you. If you come here or we've made a little rendezvous, maybe then we'll meet in Bali. So I want to see you. I want to meet you. I want to hug you and just get some of that goodness all over me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm really grateful to you, April, really, very, very much from my heart. I really, so much gratitude to you for giving me this opportunity to share my message.
Absolutely.
And God bless you in all what you are doing. And I hope our messages and our efforts will really touch hearts and transform lives.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Brains, be nice to somebody. That's all you gotta do. Just be nice to somebody. Smile. Share what you have. When you see someone on the street that is unsheltered, don't wait for them to beg for a handout. Give them a handout.
Correct.
You can start there, and then you will grow. And I'm telling you, gratitude is latitude. It will raise your attitude, and you will be a much better person. And go here on The Edge. You see this information right here? I need you to like, love, share, and subscribe right here. Like, love, share, and subscribe. Share this information with others because it's going to make the world a better place. Bye, Vivianne.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.